Thank you so much, everyone, for staying with us. Let's begin a part of the conversation that we'll be having tonight on the program. Don't forget, today is Wednesday. The midweek edition is a 1 hour stretch. So stay with us and enjoy the ride on this political conversation. So, after several months, the Department of State Services, DSS, has confirmed the arrest of the former chairman of the Pension Reform Task Team, Mr. Abdulrashid Maina, following a combined operation. A press statement released by the Public Relations Officer of the Department of State Services by Mr. Peter Afunaya says the arrest took place on September the 13th at a hotel in the Utako area of the nation's capital, Abuja. Mr. Maina was arrested in company of his 20-year-old son, Faisal Abdulrashid Maina, a final-year student at the Canadian University of Dubai, who reportedly resisted arrest and is also accused of brandishing a pistol at security agents. Items recovered from Mr. Maina include a pistol with live ammunition, a bulletproof Range Rover SUV, a BMW saloon car, foreign currencies, a Phantom 7 drone, and sensitive documents. The recovered items will be handed over to the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, the EFCC. The former pensions boss had been declared wanted by the EFCC for an alleged $2 billion fraud in November 2015. Afterward, he disappeared from the public glare, only to resurface in October 2017 and was reinstated as a director in the Ministry of Interior, a situation that sparked criticism from Nigerians. He, however, said he was ready to prove his innocence to President Muhammadu Buhari if given the opportunity. So, Channel Television had an exclusive interview with Mr. Maina sometimes in November of 2017. And this is an excerpt to remind you of some of the things that Mr. Maina said. He did say at that time, that he's not a saint, but he has a lot to offer. Take a listen to him.
He sat down with me after the security agencies cleared me of any wrongdoing. Nobody has ever taken me to court in Nigeria. I want Nigerians to know. I have never been taken to any court of law. Nobody has ever sued me for anything. I've never been taken to any court of law. I have sued all these security agencies you're talking about, and I have won. I have 4 court judgments. As soon as this government decided to sit with me, and after sitting with me, I told them, okay, I will not leave you to go back to Nigeria without something in your pocket. I'm going to give you something in your pocket. And the minister laughed. The Minister of Justice laughed. He said, what are you going to give us? I said, I'm going to give you guys a gift. What is the gift? I gave him a document. I said, go here, here. There's 1.3 trillion naira. They're going to steal it because they've been stealing every year. He was shocked. I am not a saint, but I try as much as I can to help the system. I cleared the pensioners that were under the Abuja bridges. Everybody knew that.
That's Mr. Maina, whom the DSS said they have now in their custody. So the issue of about 2 billion naira that has been stolen, the issues of fraud in the pension scheme, what is happening? I mean, you heard Mr. Maina at the time say that he was being called by government officials to sit at a table. What did they discuss? He said he was going to give them a gift and show them how about over 1 trillion Nigerian naira has been stolen every year within that sector. What does this mean? His arrest. What does this mean also? Let's get talking on this one. I have a lawyer in our Abuja studio, Mr. Frank TieTie, also a rights activist. Thank you so much, Mr. TieTie, for coming tonight on the program. After several months, this is almost 2 years now, that since Mr. Maina was declared wanted, he's since been arrested by the DSS. How does this come to you? How do you assess this?
Well, I think it's time that Nigerians saw the end of the mysterious Maina saga. Clearly, Maina is involved in a high-profile arrangement that either is a form of cover-up or a form of protection. Maina definitely has enjoyed some measure of cooperation from the state authorities, and then in such a confusing manner, at the point he was declared wanted only to be reported to be protected by the DSS against the furor of the EFCC that has made allegations against him. Maina appears to be very fascinating in the sense that he exudes such confidence in the manner with which he enters the country in the way he likes. So nobody really can take credit of arresting Maina, because Maina, the many times that he has showed up in this country from his exiled position somewhere in the UAE, is on his own volition. So the question, therefore, is Maina has made a lot of allegations and assertions that he knows what he knows, that certain looters are the ones that are manipulating the government forces against him, and that he knows a lot of things that have been happening in terms of corruption. He boasts about his ability to help the Buhari government in its fight against corruption. And there have been several uncontradicted reports about his protection, how he drives around in a convoy of protected bulletproof Range Rover cars. So the Nigerians are in a position now to demand to know the truth. And you see, such kind of high personalities like Maina, two things can possibly happen to them because of the kind of sensitive information that they possess. They are either protected, that is the one that he has been receiving, or they are also eliminated. Nigerians at this time, what is very, very worrisome is that at the time he enjoyed, not too long back, he enjoyed state protection to the extent that he embarrassed the president with a reinstatement that was secretly done. But you can see Maina was not holding anything back in saying that, look, he boasted to the Minister of Justice, the Attorney General, that he had something to offer. So what has happened now is that we hope that now that Maina has come, all of those forces who have always wanted him out, who have always been scared of him, should now come and face him. And Maina should now be given the opportunity to speak the whole truth.
There's a lot of mystery, like you mentioned, about Mr. Maina. And some of the mysteries are how he left the country, how he got reinstated. There's still a lot of stories that are yet uncovered about all of those mysteries. One important thing for me that came out to me as a journalist here is the fact that he said over 1 trillion naira is being stolen in the pensions environment for every year. How can this happen? 1 trillion naira being stolen. And he said he has directed the eyes of the government officials to that.
I can tell you that the facts speak for themselves in this matter. If you look at the level of protection Maina has had and the dramatic reinstatement he had in 2017, all of those go to show, all of those go to corroborate Maina's interview. I am tending to believe him that he does have a sufficient intelligence with regards to the situation of pension. And then you must understand that there is a high degree of corruption regarding pension funds. Idle funds lying somewhere there, and then and then with a large number of ghost workers that are an inflated cost. Yes, and Maina says he knows this thing. So I think definitely Maina was reinstated as a bait in order to allow him, release all of those sensitive intelligence information that he has to bust corruption. Now, there's also this dramatic twist. Now that we hope the very outspoken Maina will be given the opportunity to have his day in court, where he will tell the truth so that Nigerians will really know. Because right now it's difficult. Because at the point, I keep emphasizing it. Why did Maina enjoy state protection and suddenly there is this clamor to have him arrested? EFCC probably has just been doing its job in its, exercising its statutory function, but there is definitely a lot more to this Maina case that meets the eye than we already know. And I think it's good that he's back in town.
Mr. TieTie, how does this also come to you that for 2 years, there is a warrant of arrest on him, Interpol has this, and is being placed on no-flight list at some point. He said he went to court and he sued immigration, and there were damages that he told us in that exclusive interview. And he did say that he has never been sued, that he has even the one suing, and he had 4 different court injunctions. Now, how difficult or how easy it is for you to have a warrant over your head of arrest and you are still within the environment, coming in and out for 2 years?
The power of sensitive information the power of damaging information. If he goes down, a lot of people will go down. That's why it is easier to protect him than to eliminate him. So give him some form of protection. So that's the reason why Maina has exhibited this kind of uncommon confidence in which he jets in and out of this country, despite all of these hula-baloo about arrest warrants over his head. And indeed, he does have several court orders protecting him, even protecting him from being arrested. I think at the last, there was a report about EFCC appealing against such orders, but which have been granted against arresting him. What is important now, what is very important now is that the man on his own again has come. He does, as a citizen, owe this country a responsibility to always speak the truth. So what is my concern as a rights defender is that every effort be made to preserve the man, because if he has so much enjoyed protection before now, anything can happen this time, and the man has not been equivocal about it. That what he knows is damaging, but at the same time can also save the Buhari administration a lot of money that is being siphoned every year from in the guise of pension funds. I think that is a very, very important mark for which Nigerians should take serious interest in what is going on. There should be no sensational approach to this arrest of Maina, apart from the fact that his son and reported issue of pistol have been associated with it. That Maina came into this country on his own, and that he was apprehended shouldn't really be so sensational. But what should really be of serious interest to us is that at last, Maina can now have a day in court. So there is a challenge to the EFCC. EFCC has put has put Maina on the wanted list. EFCC should now make haste to approach the court to arraign Maina. The DSS that has been reported several times to be protecting Maina should now save itself. That that kind of confusing, confusing signals that it has sent by now quickly handing over Maina to EFCC and then let Maina have his day in court.
Mr. TieTie, is it ironic because this is Mr. Maina who headed a task force reforms committee on pensions, and he was being accused of stealing about 2 billion naira. That is on one hand. The allegations of the theft of almost 2 billion naira is on one hand. The fact that Mr. Maina says, look, there's a whole lot of being stolen and that I can give and I can direct you to it. That's another irony, isn't it? So how do is the EFCC, for example, if they're pursuing this case, how are they going to pursue to unearth where these over 1 trillion yearly that have been stolen is coming from, or where it's eating, and where the 2 billion allegedly stolen by Mr. Maina is, isn't it? Is that a difficult one?
I understand the kind of celebrity status that Maina has enjoyed in the last few years by the kind of protection and the seemingly unwillingness to really get him arrested. Do not also forget that there are various figures being bandied and they are unsubstantiated. The Senate committee did mention some figures, 100 billion, 190 billion, and all of that. Now, the report that I get is that Maina has been involved, and there's no kind of direct accusation that he stole. There is no forensic, proof yet made to the public. And don't forget, the public is entitled to as ordinary people of the Federation, we're entitled to know what goes on. There is no forensic evidence to prove that Maina stole money directly. However, there are contemplations. Yes, there's room for suspicion. But there must, the FCC, like we have always criticized many law enforcement agents, must do a thorough job before it proceeds to arraignment, before it even proceeds to arrest. There can be a form of protective detention given to him. But you see, one thing that is clear is this. The kind of celebrity status that Maina has enjoyed is because of the sensitive information he has. So the man went into hiding when no one pursued him, because his eyes were probably opened to the humongous scam of the humongous corruption, the mind-boggling stealing, and the fleecing of this country's resources by certain persons. Now, Nigerians are very much eager at this time to know. So Maina had been in hiding, and had not minced words about that. I am not going to be an apologist of Maina at all. But you see, as a citizen, as a fellow citizen, I expect that all of his rights be protected. His right to be able to defend himself. His right to fair hearing. So when all of these accusations, 2 billion, 100 billion, 190-something billion against him, the man should also have, but for Channels Television that afforded him that opportunity, the man has not been able to counter some of all of these media and sensational accusations against him. Let us have some substance in all of these things, and think a thorough investigation would suffice.
Okay, we'll leave it at that, and we'll see how the authorities are taking this. Both, it's a combined effort that got his arrest, both from the EFCC and that of the DSS, and we hope that at some point justice will be done in this case. Thank you so much, Mr. Frank TieTie, a lawyer and rights activist, for talking on this one. Thank you so much for staying with us. We'll take a break, everyone. And when we come back, we'll dwell on what President Muhammadu Buhari said yesterday. He made several promises. He told Nigerians several things. How do you take the president's word on those things? We dissect and we look at the hopes in those words. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.